I was lucky enough to have spent most of my career in the cemetery and funeral industry, which was, yeah, difficult. I mean, it was hard, but it gave me such an appreciation for life. It reminded every one of us on a regular basis that we don't know how long we have. And one of the things that I did during that time was start asking people questions about, do you have any regrets? What are you proud of? And so often people had regrets, regrets of not having taken the vacation or not starting their own business or not telling someone they love them more often or not writing the letter, whatever. And how frustrating. And so it was a good lesson to me not to procrastinate. And at the same time, I was taking Stephen Covey's classes and Seven Habits and Highly Effective Leadership. And so those two things kind of solidified in me a way to be effective. I had the passion to be effective. And for a number of years, I was. Until recently, I have been so ineffective and so aggravated at myself. I'm just like, ugh, I don't get it. I know better. You know, you go to sleep and you have a plan to get up in the morning at a specific time and to do these things. And then the next morning comes and you don't feel like it. Or it looks like it's going to rain. Or maybe tomorrow would be better. Or, I'm late anyway. By that time, you are. So you lay there and you think you'd be rewarded. You got your own way. You didn't have to do anything uncomfortable, but reward? Ah, yeah, right. You'd think we'd learn not to procrastinate just from the fruit that we get from doing it. Yeah, then comes the reward. Your mind starts going, oh man, are you a loser? You don't even keep promises to yourself. Ah, you're obviously not very important, are you? And that goes from worse to worse. And you don't make one bit of um, advance in the day. The word procrastination comes from the Latin word procrastinus, which means belonging to tomorrow. I'd like to send it into tomorrow, wouldn't you? Right. It's the habit of intentionally putting things off that are meaningful, not trivial. Those don't matter. But the putting off of meaningful things intentionally and habitually as though they belong to tomorrow. That's what we do. It's not good. We know what we should do. We know what we want to do, but we don't do it. We don't follow orders from self. That self person must not be too big of a deal, right? So we need self control, which comes from self discipline, but that has to come from motivation and good habits. And there are lots of ways to motivate ourselves, but most of them don't work. You know why? You can put a carrot on a stick, or you can set a goal that you'll earn so much if you do this by then. But all of those release dopamine for such a very short period of time that it just doesn't last. And so we end up procrastinating again and again and again and beating ourselves up a little more and a little more and a little more until we're so beat up that we can't do that thing. And the pile's so big, we get smaller and the pile gets bigger. Not a good situation, right? So we got to figure it out. What happens is, like, I go to bed with all those great plans and I wake up, and after I lay there and realize that I certainly could have kept my word, certainly could have, but I'm a loser. I never do what I say. I don't value myself. I don't believe in my plans. I'm not worth keeping a promise to. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow, but probably not. Self-doubt, that vicious circle of didn't do it, being a loser, feeling guilty, putting judgment on ourselves, and being totally discouraged. Procrastination is certainly not relaxation. You get so much more depressed after you procrastinate. Some people say they're better under pressure, but that can't be true. Putting things off just adds pressure and stress and worry and all those things. But I maybe I was thinking about this, and maybe you're so relieved that once you do it, you think you're better because you're actually doing something, and doing something is better than nothing. That's my take on it anyway. So, did you know that 20% of people believe that they're chronic procrastinators? These are people that don't pay their bills on time, file their income tax late, never buy a gift on time. All those things, but never shop early. These are people that always have excuses. They have a problem with self regulation and self esteem. Sometimes that comes from a parenting style. Maybe your parents were really hard on you, or maybe it's procrastination is a form of rebellion, or there are all kinds of reasons that we might procrastinate. Maybe we've developed in our mind a picture of the thing that we're going to do, and it's so huge. And the more we put it off, the bigger that thing gets. And that's what we need to remember. We start out with this, project, and it's little, and we're big, and we procrastinate, and it gets bigger, and we get smaller, and it gets bigger, and we get smaller until it's overwhelming. And then we don't do it, or have beat ourselves up so bad. So, anyway, it doesn't help to give advice to someone who's procrastinating. Yeah, they're already down on themselves. Don't help them that way. And don't tell them to go buy a planner. That won't help because it's not skin deep. The problem is root deep. It's rooted in something much bigger, which we're going to get to eventually. But it's like telling someone who is procrastinating to go buy a planner is like telling someone who's depressed, just cheer up, right? Anyway, Grandma used to say, Cynthia, don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today. It's easy to put things off today. The world is crazy fraught with distractions. Every reason in the world to lose focus. Social media and email and internet and telephones and TV and all these crazy distractions. And the world or society tells us that we'll be freer. The freer we are, the happier we'll be. And that's just not true. When we're free and we do nothing but waste our time, which we will never, ever get back, never redeem our time. Once we do that, we can't help but see ourselves as losers. There's just no way. And then you get in deep. Anyway, addicts are famous procrastinators. And well, not most, I know a lot of people think that procrastination is a habit of the dumb. Not so. The most intelligent and creative people are said to deal with procrastination often. Often we set aside things and procrastinate until that heap is just way, way too big, and we lie to ourselves. What we need is a personal vision